Righty. Wow. Hopefully people can hear. Can you hear me all right? Sort of? Yeah. Back on the table, back there, I'm guessing these lovely... Can you hear me all right? Are you listening? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right, so that'll be loud enough for this. Hey, everybody. Welcome to PartnerConnect. It's great to have you all here. This is the first time we're trying to do this live interaction with some of our add-on partners, so we're going to see how well this goes. We are live recording, so for those of you on the camera, hi, how are you? And also, as a note for those in the audience, that's backwards because it's then flipping it around to go live. So if you're wondering why I'm over there and Andrew's over here, bit of fun and games first in the morning. It's not your coffee, don't worry about that. All right, so how's Wellington this morning anyway? Awesome, excellent. There's someone in the crowd, fantastic, love it. How many of you know what add-ons actually are? Yeah, well, okay, yep, that works. Back there, you know, yep, okay. So add-ons are little additional, I shouldn't say little, because some of them are quite big, like cooking the books. Add-ons are additional software that support the MYOB platform and take it into new places. They do different things with it. You've probably heard me before say that MYOB makes great accounting software, but it makes pretty terrible coffee. I shouldn't say that this morning while there's coffee up there. It doesn't do coffee, it doesn't do rostering, and it certainly doesn't manage a kitchen. And that's where the add-ons come into play to help take it into new places. So we thought this morning we'd get the ball rolling with Andrew from Cooking the Books and have a look at how Cooking the Books, and their stand, by the way, is over here in the back, so after this you're welcome to go and have a chat to them in person. Andrew, welcome to Wellington.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, we're going to have to try and share this mic, so this is going to be interesting. How's Wellington? Cold? It's not that cold. I mean, look, All right, Andrew, in your words, and I'll actually hand you the mic, you can hold it yourself. What is Cooking the Books?
So basically, Cooking the Books is a kitchen management tool. I used to be a chef in a previous life, so anything that we do in the kitchen is from a chef's point of view. Cooking the Books handles from purchase orders all the way through to, of course, the accounting software, MYOB. We've developed a whole lot of little things to help the chef organise the kitchen as well, so recipe cards, cost sheets, those sorts of things. So anything except cooking, Cooking Books can actually do.
And I love that name. How long did it take you to come up with the name?
It's quite funny. I was actually cooking at a restaurant in Melbourne, and I was trying to think of a name, and then it came to me, and I screamed it out, ran out of the meeting, and went and got the name. Or the business name, and then we got the company name a little bit later. So yeah, look, the Cooking Books, everyone seems to remember it. There was one stage where MYOB wanted me to change it to CTV, but no, yeah, because they didn't think accountants and Cooking the Books sort of worked well. But I think it's we've got another one called Shifty Business as well. So we've got a few that are along those lines.
Excellent, excellent. You have trademarked it. Fantastic. Excellent. So Cooking the Books, it's not about manipulating your books, it's about working in the restaurant and such like. So for those of you still joining us, we're having a chat here to Andrew from Cooking the Books about how his add-on helps restaurants and kitchens and such like. Andrew, you talk about managing a kitchen. Is there a certain size of a company that needs, if I'm just running a small cafe and a small kitchen, do I need this, or do I need to be a great big restaurant?
That's a really interesting question. We've struggled with that a little bit, but we basically say to new users, if they're making over 15,000 revenue a week, we can help them save a lot of money. But if they're hemorrhaging money, which seems to be the case all over the world with hospitality, if they're under the 15,000, we can help them save a lot of money. Depending on how badly they're going, we can save them. Any percentage we save them is going to help them pay for the system. But with 15,000, we can definitely, the cost involved in using the system and what they can benefit far outweighs the cost. We don't include the other costs, so the cost of getting the data across, so that's another saving on top of what we already save them. So there's lots of savings to be made, and what we've tried to do is what we're actually trying to do is make your jobs easier from the accountant side, so that data is transferred all the way around. I think it's ridiculous that at the moment most hospitality venues are keying in the data, so they're ordering it, then the supplier keys in that same data, and then it comes back as an invoice, and then you guys are entering that same data in to MYOB. we've streamlined that all the way through, so it's all electronic. So that's what we're sort of trying to do.
So you talk about data entry, and it's a really key point. So a lot of add-ons, including Cooking the Books, save you time by removing that double data entry. You know, the whole idea of you're logging into Cooking the Books and invoices and data is automatically in account right. It removes that human error element where, you know, we can make mistakes and 1,000 becomes 100,000 really quickly because 2 extra zeros in the wrong place sort of thing. So that's where the automation helps. I remember talking from Curry earlier on that one of the key areas that you focus on is around wastage. So I know that wastage in a restaurant costs them a lot of money. Is that the key pain point that we would see a restaurant suffering with that would be a trigger to take Cooking the Books, or is it just one of those bonuses that you suddenly see that when you're using the system?
Anyone that's dealt with a kitchen before, I used to be a chef, so I'm bagging myself here. The biggest problem with kitchens is chefs usually. One, they're very difficult to deal with most of the time. Wastage is a big component of making money, because if you're throwing away the food instead of selling it, you're losing money. But there's so many little things like portion control and just making sure that everything's costed out. I walk into kitchens regularly on a daily basis, and majority of them just don't have costed recipes, which in this day and age is pretty ridiculous. A few years ago, you could open your own restaurant, start cooking, you'd make money, and it was nice and easy. But food's more expensive now, and labour's going through the roof, so it's a lot harder. So they need something to store all this information, and that's why we're going pretty well now, because we can store that information.
Awesome. So part of the thing that Cooking the Books does, and come over to the counter and have a chat to them after this, is the whole recipe card's there, the photo of the item, then what makes up that hamburger or the meal broken down by price, and then working out the wastage and such like. Now on the back of that, the other part that's in there is a whole bunch of reporting, right? Do you want to talk us about some of the reports that you've got built into the package?
Probably the most important one that you're probably producing for your hospitality owners is a food cost report. Majority of places that we see are making this report up. We look at all the purchases, of course. We do stock taking through the system as well, so they get a figure that's an accurate figure as of that date. So we use the latest price. So we get an opening and closing stock, purchases, any requisitions. Divide that by your revenue, of course, and then you get a food cost percentage that can be acted upon. If you give that to any owner in the world, that's the thing that they're going to look at more than anything, and if it's around about 30%, they're pretty happy usually. The other thing that we do with all our reports is, I know you guys look at profit and losses. If you give a profit and loss to a chef, they're going to look at it and not know what it is, but also, I can't change a profit and loss. It's history to me. It should have been picked up before it became that history. So we look at the hospitality in the future. So we're looking at what's going to happen if we don't make a change. So we've got lots of reports to show them this is how you're tracking, this is what's going to happen in the future if you don't make a change. So it's all about not what's happened, it's about what is going to happen if you don't make any changes. We've got tendering and a whole lot of other reports that help with that as well.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually. One of the other things that's exciting about today and these sort of sessions is you're not just talking to Cooking the Books on their own. They actually connect with a number of the other add-on partners, both here and in Australia, and we're seeing that more and more with the add-ons, and it's quite exciting to see all this data starting to share nicely between platforms as well as back to the Account Right platform, which is really cool. So a common question we get asked, how much?
The basic database, we give everything to everybody. We don't have multi-users and all that sort of thing. Left a bad taste in my mouth when I started doing all this sort of stuff. So it's a one fee. You can have as many users as you like on it, and it starts at about $120 a month. With that, you get help, telephone support, email support. We also help set it up too, and that's probably the hardest part. Once it's set up, it's very easy to use. It's been designed by a dopey chef, myself. For chefs to use, so the lowest common denominator. So it is very easy to use, and chefs, if you are watching this, I am being nasty to myself, but it's really easy to use, and that was the whole premise of what I wanted to do. But yeah, the $120 covers virtually everything. We add on lots of things where we're looking at, we've just got another thing called Invoice Ripper, which is basically getting the invoice ripped out as a PDF and putting it straight into Cooking the Books, so that way they don't have to update any data that comes in. So that'll make it a bit easier, and we're talking to Counter about linking in with the sales. We do link in with a few POS systems. We're also linking in with a lot of suppliers as well, which they're usually a few years behind the rest of the world in IT. So what we're doing is taking the data from Cooking Books and putting it into their system as well, so they don't have to key it in, which make it a bit cheaper as well for the end users. So there's lots of things happening there.
All right, so given we've got a partner audience rather than a chef audience, what's in it for partners? If they've got customers who are running a cafe or a restaurant or something similar and they want to know more, what do they do? Obviously, they go over to your stand today, but what else can they do to find out more about you?
Probably come to the stand first. We've got lots of DVDs that show you all the features of Cooking Books. We've also got a partner program that we're giving something back to you guys if you do recommend it. The other thing too that it's going to do for you is you walk into a hospitality venue, 2 minutes later, every invoice that they've created in Cooking the Books can be taken into MYOB. So your job will be virtually nothing. So, which is fantastic. Then you can do the reports that are required for the owners to show them how their business is going or be going well, hopefully.
And by nothing, he means simplified, because we all want jobs. Okay, fantastic. So that's Andrew from Cooking the Books. The stand is over the back here. Feel free to go and have a chat to them. As I mentioned earlier on, during today we'll be doing more of these. So at lunchtime we'll have 2 more vendors, and in afternoon tea we'll have another vendor. Tonight's networking activity is sponsored by Castaway, who are over in the back corner. So we're going out in a bit of bowling, a bit of fun, isn't it, James, tonight? Which will be great. So thanks to Castaway for that. Tomorrow, and check for these little posters that are around the place. Tomorrow we will have a lot more of these going on, and we are hoping to interview every single one of the add-ons. So a chance for you to come, us to unpack these a little bit for you and explore more. So I hope you're enjoying your day. It's a lot warmer in here than it is outside, so enjoy that. The next session back there will be starting in about 5 minutes. James is like, okay, sure. So in about 5 minutes, we'll be back in the main session. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.